Rain whispered against the tall glass walls of the Mercer penthouse. Manhattan's skyline gleamed like a cruel audience, watching a woman's life collapse in silence. Lily Hart stood barefoot on the marble floor, her hands trembling over her swollen belly. Across from her, Cole Mercer, the man she'd built her world around, adjusted his Rolex, his tone as cold as the rain. "It's over, Lily. I've already moved out," he said flatly, typing something into his iPhone before sliding it into his Armani jacket. "Sienna and I are moving to LA tomorrow. I'll send you what you need." "What I need?" Her voice cracked. "I'm carrying your children, Cole," he exhaled, irritated. "Don't make this dramatic. You'll be fine. I've arranged a lawyer. Don't contact the board or the press." Her vision blurred. Behind him, the city lights flickered on Fifth Avenue. Gold, distant, unreachable. The man who once kissed her hands before every investor meeting now couldn't even look her in the eye. "I gave up everything for you," she whispered. "My career, my father's company, my—" "Exactly," he cut in. "Your father's company. Don't forget, I turned it into an empire. Without me, you'd still be working in some small firm on Park Avenue." The words struck harder than any slap. Lily's chest tightened. She clutched the kitchen counter, the marble cold beneath her palm. He grabbed his suitcase, paused only to check his reflection in the glass. A black Mercedes waited outside, headlights cutting through the drizzle. Cole opened the door, and that's when her phone buzzed. A message flashed across the screen. "He's lying. Check the trust papers, Gr." Her breath caught. Gabriel Roth. The name she hadn't heard in years, her father's old business partner. What did he mean? Cole turned back briefly. "Don't look at me like that, Lily. You'll thank me one day." She almost laughed. "For what? Destroying me? For setting you free." He left, the sound of the door slamming echoing like a final verdict. Silence filled the penthouse, sharp, endless. Lily slid to the floor, one hand over her belly, the other clutching her phone. Tears streamed down her face as she reread the message again and again. Outside, the Mercedes pulled away. Upstairs, rain turned heavier, beating against the glass like a warning. She stared at her reflection, pale, broken, yet alive. Her heart whispered, "Don't fall apart now." She didn't know it yet, but this was not the end. It was the moment the world broke her, so she could rebuild into something no one could ever destroy again. And at that very second, the camera pans out, the city below glowing like fire, as Lily vows silently, "You left me for a model, Cole, but I'll rise higher than your entire empire." Bold realization. Her greatest heartbreak had just given birth to her greatest power. The next morning, Manhattan woke to a cold, colorless dawn. Rain still traced silver lines down the Mercer Tower windows. Lily hadn't slept. The echoes of Cole's last words, "You'll thank me one day," kept looping in her head like a curse she couldn't mute. She sat on the floor beside an unopened box of Amazon deliveries, baby clothes she never got to unpack. The message on her phone from Gr. pulsed like a heartbeat. She hesitated for hours before dialing the number attached. A deep, familiar voice answered. "Lily Hart, this is Gabriel Roth." Her throat tightened. "Gabriel, I don't understand. You said to check the trust papers?" "I can't say much on the phone. Meet me today, the River Cafe, noon sharp. Bring your father's documents if you still have them." Before she could ask more, the line went dead. Lily's heart pounded. She searched through dusty storage boxes stacked in the closet, remnants of her father's old files. There, beneath a photo of him shaking hands with a much younger Gabriel, was a sealed brown envelope with her name written in his handwriting. Her breath hitched. She tore it open. Inside was a short letter and a signed contract. Her father had written, "If you ever lose everything, remember, what's yours by truth cannot be stolen by greed." Beneath the letter was an ownership certificate, 51% of Mercer Capital, held in a silent trust under her name. The room seemed to spin. She stared, unable to process what she was holding. Cole had always claimed he built Mercer Capital, but the papers in her hand said otherwise. It had been her father's company all along, just renamed, hidden behind Cole's charm and ambition. Her phone buzzed again. It was Maya Brooks, her closest friend from college, now a corporate lawyer at a Wall Street firm. "Lily, are you okay?" "I saw the news. Cole and Sienna went public last night." Lily's voice cracked. "He left me. But Maya, listen, I found something. Something my dad hid." Within an hour, Maya was at Lily's apartment, holding 2 Starbucks cups and her MacBook Pro. She read through the papers, eyes widening. Holy, Lily, this is a corporate bomb. If these documents are real, you don't just own a share, you own the company. Lily shook her head. Cole will destroy me before he lets this get out. Then we don't go loud, Maya said, tapping furiously on her laptop. We go smart. Step 1, verify everything. Step 2, secure the originals. Step 3, call Roth. At noon, Lily arrived at the River Cafe. The Brooklyn Bridge loomed above the fog, lights shimmering over the East River. Gabriel Roth sat at a corner table, gray hair slicked back, suit impeccable. His presence radiated quiet power, the kind built on decades of winning wars others never saw. He stood when she approached. You look like your father did when he was about to fight the world, he said gently. Lily blinked back tears. You knew? I helped him build Mercer, before Cole came along. He gestured to the envelope. Your father trusted me to protect his legacy if things ever turned dark. She swallowed hard. Why now? Because the man you married is about to lose everything, and take you with him if you don't act first. Gabriel leaned forward, lowering his voice. Cole's been cooking the books for years. You're his legal wife. That makes you liable, unless you step out and reclaim what's rightfully yours. Lily's hands trembled around her coffee cup. You're saying I expose him? I'm saying, Gabriel said quietly, you survive him. The city hum outside grew louder, the clatter of dishes and river breeze mingling with her heartbeat. In that moment, something inside Lily shifted. Not rage, not revenge, but resolve. She looked Gabriel in the eye. Then teach me how. Bold realization. The woman he thought he destroyed had just found the weapon he could never see coming. The River Cafe smelled of rain and roasted coffee beans. The soft jazz in the background couldn't drown the storm inside Lily's chest. Gabriel Roth sat across from her, hands steady, eyes unreadable. He stirred his espresso once, then set the spoon down with precision that told her he was a man who never acted by chance. Cole used your father's name to get funding for Mercer Capital, he began. But he forged documents, rewrote history to make himself the founder. I helped your father design the original structure of the company. That's how I know. Lily listened, each word cutting deeper. So, you're saying my husband built an empire on fraud, and my father's grave? Gabriel nodded slowly. Exactly. And when your father died, Cole blocked the trust's activation clause. He bribed the notary who kept the files sealed, but he made one mistake. He pulled out an old Mont Blanc pen and scribbled on a notepad. Your father's legal signature contained a hidden clause, an authenticity mark. Only a few of us knew it. This, he said, pushing the note toward her, proves your documents are real. Lily's pulse raced. If this goes public, Cole's done. Gabriel leaned back. He won't go quietly. He's reckless, desperate and afraid, and desperate men are dangerous. She swallowed. Then why help me? He smiled faintly. Because your father once saved my company from collapse. He made me promise, if my daughter ever stands alone, stand behind her. The words hit something deep inside her, something long buried under humiliation and fear. She clenched her jaw. What do you need me to do? He slid a sleek folder across the table. You sign this, and I'll protect your assets under a temporary holding company. Cole can't touch you or your babies. In return, you stay silent until I say otherwise. Lily opened the folder. A deal with the devil, she whispered. Gabriel chuckled softly. No, darling. A deal with the man who already knows the devil's playbook. She stared at his silver cufflinks, catching the dim light. Something about his composure frightened her. It wasn't cruelty, but certainty. What happens to Cole? She asked. Gabriel folded his hands. We let him hang himself. His board's already suspicious. They just need a reason to look closer. He'll create his own scandal. Trust me. Lily hesitated, torn between justice and the fear of escalation. If I do this, there's no going back. There never was, he replied. A gust of wind swept through the terrace, fluttering the white tablecloths. Outside, the East River glimmered like mercury under the gray sky. Gabriel looked out for a long moment before speaking again. Lily, I've seen men like Cole burn down empires just to watch the ashes glow. Don't wait for him to destroy you. Take what's yours and rebuild. His words were calm, but they lit something fierce inside her. She straightened in her seat, shoulders squared. For the first time since Cole left, her voice didn't shake. Then teach me how to fight without becoming like him. Gabriel smiled. a rare softness crossing his face. "That's exactly why you'll win." As she signed the papers, her reflection trembled in the window, raindrops streaking across her face like tears she no longer had time to shed. When the ink dried, Gabriel stood and buttoned his coat. "From this moment on, consider yourself invisible. I'll contact you when it's time." She nodded, gripping the pen tightly, realizing her life had just split in two. The woman who begged for love, and the one now armed with power. Bold realization. Her husband built his empire on lies, but she just signed the first document that could bring it all crashing down. By the time Lily returned to her apartment that night, the storm had turned the city into a blur of neon and rain. She pushed open the door, exhausted yet electrified from the meeting with Gabriel. But as she set her keys down, her phone buzzed. Chase Bank alert. Account access denied. Her stomach dropped. She refreshed the app. All 3 accounts, joint, savings, trust, were frozen. Even her credit cards had been deactivated. "Cole," she whispered. Within minutes, her lawyer, Maya, was on the phone. "He's trying to suffocate you financially," Maya said, her voice sharp and steady. "It's a classic CEO move. Cut off control, isolate, pressure. But don't panic. I'll file an emergency injunction first thing in the morning." Lily sank onto the couch, wrapping her arms around her belly. "He's not just cutting money, Maya. He's cutting air. Then we'll find another way to breathe." Later that night, she tried to order groceries online. But even her Amazon Prime account had been locked, linked to the same card. She laughed bitterly. He thought of everything. Except one thing. She reached into her coat pocket and pulled out the sleek silver pen Gabriel had left behind at the River Cafe. A Mont Blanc, engraved subtly with initials GR. When she unscrewed the cap, she found a microdrive hidden inside, containing financial documents, contacts, and encrypted access codes. Her hands shook. Gabriel hadn't just given her protection, he'd given her ammunition. At dawn, she took a long walk through Central Park. The air smelled of wet grass and coffee. Joggers passed her without a glance, and for the first time she felt invisible, just like Gabriel said she needed to be. Her phone rang again. It was Cole. "Lily, you made a mistake," his voice slithered through the speaker. "You signed something, didn't you? Don't play stupid." She froze. "You hacked me?" He laughed. "Sweetheart, I still own the company that pays your bills. You really think you can hide anything?" Her anger burned through fear. "You stole my father's legacy, Cole, and now you're trying to erase me. But remember this, ashes still glow." He went silent. Then coldly, "You're done. You'll have nothing." The line clicked off. That afternoon, Maya arrived carrying 2 Starbucks cups and a storm of legal folders. "He's filing for divorce. Fast track," she said. "And he's claiming mental instability due to pregnancy hormones. Classic character assassination." Lily exhaled, furious but composed. "Let him. The more he lies, the easier it'll be to prove the truth." They spent hours scanning documents, logging evidence from the hidden microdrive. One file labeled Mercer Holdings Shadow Accounts made Maya's eyes widen. "Oh my God, Lily, this isn't just fraud. He's been siphoning investor funds offshore. If this leaks, it's prison time." Lily stared at the glowing laptop screen, realizing the scale of what she was holding. Her hands trembled, not from fear, but from purpose. That night, she slept little. The hum of the city outside her window became her metronome, marking the rhythm of a new resolve. She would survive. She would protect her children. And when the time came, she would expose Cole Mercer for everything he was. As dawn broke again over the skyline, her reflection in the glass didn't look broken anymore, just sharper. "Ready," she whispered into the quiet apartment. "You froze my accounts, Cole, but you'll never freeze my will." Bold realization. He cut her lifeline, so she built her own. The city woke under a thin sheet of sunlight, still damp from the storm. Lily Hart laced her sneakers slowly, her belly heavier now, her movements slower but determined. Central Park was her only place to breathe. Every morning she walked the same path, from 72nd Street down to the lake, just to remember what still belonged to her. Air, sky, heartbeat. She couldn't afford therapy, but walking became her quiet rebellion against despair. A woman feeding pigeons smiled at her. "You're brave to be out so early, sweetheart." Lily smiled faintly. If only you knew, she thought. Her phone buzzed. Maya's message. Court date set. Cole's lawyers pushing defamation narrative. Be ready. Lily typed back, ready as ever. But she wasn't. Not really. Rent was due in 3 days and her savings were gone. The landlord's patience was thinning. Even with Maya's legal hold on the accounts, Cole's influence reached everywhere. Her lease, her insurance, even her doctor's office had canceled her next appointment without explanation. She paused by the lake, watching a rower glide across the silver water. For a moment, she envied the simple rhythm of it. Forward, back, forward again. Her iPhone pinged again. A new email, unknown sender. I know what he did. Meet me tonight, 9 p.m., 67th and Madison. Come alone. Her chest tightened. Another trap or a miracle? Maya urged caution when Lily called. Could be a setup. Cole's desperate. I can't ignore it, Lily said. What if it's someone from inside Mercer? Maya sighed. Then at least tell me where you'll be, and wear something neutral. No attention. That night, the city glowed like gold and danger. Lily wore a gray coat and scarf, blending into the evening crowd. The corner of 67th and Madison buzzed with taxis and cold wind. At 9:07, a figure appeared, tall, thin, with a hooded jacket. He handed her a small flash drive, his voice low. Don't talk, just listen. I worked for Cole. He's moving assets overseas, Cayman, Zurich, Dubai, everything under fake subsidiaries. He's planning to disappear before the board finds out. Her breath froze. Why tell me? Because I have a sister, he said quietly, and I watched what he did to you. Men like him don't deserve to win. Then he vanished into the crowd before she could respond. Back home, she plugged the flash drive into her MacBook. Files opened. Transaction trails, false invoices, private correspondence. Proof enough to bury Cole. But attached at the bottom was one last file. Private, Roth PDF. When she opened it, her heart nearly stopped. It wasn't Cole's data. It was hers. A detailed security dossier, movements, phone calls, even her doctor's notes. Someone had been tracking her for months. Her hands trembled as she scrolled. Last entry. Observation requested by Gabriel Roth. Ensure safety at all costs. She sat back, stunned. Gabriel? He had promised protection, but this was surveillance. Maya's call came instantly after. Lily, listen to me. If he's tracking you, it's not safe to stay there. Pack what you can, I'll pick you up. Through the window, she saw a black car idling across the street. Not moving. Just waiting. Her pulse spiked. Maya, I think it's already too late. She turned off the light, clutching her stomach as if shielding her unborn children from the world's madness. Outside, the rain began again, soft, relentless. The same rain from the night, everything shattered. Bold realization, sometimes salvation and surveillance wear the same face. The next morning, Lily hadn't slept. The flash drive still lay on her kitchen table. The words observation requested by Gabriel Roth burned into her mind like a scar. Outside, the black car was gone, but paranoia clung to her like humidity. By 8 a.m., Maya arrived, trench coat soaked from the rain. We're moving you today, she said, locking the door behind her. Pack light. I already called a friend in Midtown. She has a spare place. Lily nodded, still staring at the laptop screen. Maya, why would Gabriel track me? He said he was protecting me. Maya hesitated. Maybe he was. Maybe he wasn't. He's not the type to give without taking something in return. Her phone buzzed. Gabriel Roth calling. Maya gestured. Put him on speaker. Lily, his voice came through, calm as ever. You're upset. I understand. The files you found were for your safety. New York isn't kind to women standing up to powerful men. You were spying on me, she said sharply. You knew where I was, what I ate, what doctor I saw. Yes, he interrupted smoothly. Because if I hadn't, Cole's people would have found you first. Silence hung thick, then his tone hardened. You need to trust me, Lily. Cole is leaving the country. Tonight, he's transferring the last of Mercer Capital's funds offshore. Once he's gone, your leverage is gone too. Maya frowned. How do you know that? Because, Gabriel said, I'm at the boardroom right now. Lily froze. You're what? He sighed. Mercer's board called an emergency session. They suspect financial misconduct, and Cole's trying to convince them it's all a misunderstanding, but he's losing control. Maya grabbed her bag. We need to see this ourselves. If Cole runs, the money disappears and the case dies. An hour later, they reached the Mercer Tower. Security was thick, but Maya flashed her credentials as a corporate attorney, and somehow Gabriel had already arranged clearance. Inside the boardroom, the tension was electric. Cole stood at the head of the table, his perfect suit unable to hide the panic beneath. There's no fraud, he barked, just temporary reallocations. The market hit us harder than expected. Across the table, Gabriel leaned back, unbothered, eyes like ice. Reallocations or theft? Because the Cayman accounts suggest otherwise. Cole spun toward him. You, stay out of this. You're just an investor. An investor with proof, Gabriel replied coolly, sliding a folder forward. The room buzzed. Lily and Maya watched from the doorway, unnoticed. For a moment, she almost pitied Cole. The man who once kissed her forehead before meetings now looked cornered, desperate. But then, Gabriel said something that turned her blood cold. She's irrelevant now, he said, voice low but clear. We'll clean this up without her involvement. Lily's heart stopped. Irrelevant? Maya's eyes widened. He's cutting you out. Cole smirked, seizing the moment. Finally, someone speaking sense. Lily stepped forward before Maya could stop her. Irrelevant? Without me, none of this exists. Heads turned, gasps filled the room. Cole's expression morphed from shock to fury. What the hell are you doing here? Gabriel stood slowly. His face didn't change. Not anger, not guilt, just calculation. Lily, this wasn't the plan. No, she said, trembling but defiant. It was your plan. The silence that followed felt like gravity collapsing. Cole lunged across the table, but security intercepted him. Cameras flashed, voices rose. Lily's stomach clenched, the stress twisting through her like wire. Gabriel whispered to an aide, then turned back to her, his voice calm again. You've just made things harder for both of us. But Lily had already realized something. He didn't want justice. He wanted control. Bold realization, she'd escaped one manipulator, only to fall into another's game. That night, Manhattan glittered like nothing had happened. But beneath the skyline, panic began to spread. Quiet, invisible, deadly. Cole Mercer's scandal leaked faster than anyone expected. By sunrise, whispers flooded Wall Street. Offshore accounts, insider trading, falsified audits. His face flashed across CNBC as the fallen CEO of Mercer Capital. But in a luxury apartment overlooking the Hudson, Sienna Vale, the model who replaced Lily scrolled through her phone with trembling fingers. The world was turning against him, and by extension, against her. Her agent's voice screamed over speakerphone. Sienna, Dior froze your campaign. Cartier pulled your ad spots. You're trending for all the wrong reasons. Do you have any idea how toxic this looks? Sienna bit her lip, pacing barefoot on the marble floor. I didn't know, Alex. He told me everything was legal. Everyone says that before the FBI shows up at their door, her agent snapped, then hung up. Sienna dropped the phone, her hands shaking. She looked toward the bedroom, Cole's side of the bed still unmade, his cologne still clinging to the sheets. He hadn't come home since last night's boardroom chaos. She turned on the TV. News anchors dissected his downfall, showing photos of Lily standing near the boardroom entrance, one hand on her belly, the pregnant wife he abandoned. The public's sympathy was entirely with Lily now. Sienna whispered, "He promised me this would never touch me." Then, her phone buzzed again. An unknown number. She hesitated before answering. Miss Vale? The voice was female, calm but firm. This is Maya Brooks, Lily Hart's attorney. We need to talk. Sienna froze. What do you want from me? Information, Maya said, and maybe protection for both of you. I don't need protection, Sienna snapped. Cole loves me. A pause, then Maya's voice lower. Then where is he right now? Silence. Sienna turned toward the window. The Hudson River shimmered darkly below, empty. Her throat tightened. What do you know? Maya's tone softened. Cole is transferring everything under your name. The Cayman accounts, the properties, all in your signature. If this goes down, you take the fall. Her heart dropped. No, he wouldn't. He already did. Sienna sank onto the couch, trembling. Her whole body felt hollow. Why are you telling me this? Because you have something that can prove it. His old phone, the one he used for offshore transactions. He hid it in your apartment, didn't he? Sienna swallowed. How do you know that? Because he did the same thing to Lily. Used her trust, her name, her life. Don't let him bury you too. For a long moment, the only sound was the rain against the glass. Then Sienna whispered, What do you want me to do? Meet me, Maya said. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., the plaza lobby. Bring the phone, and don't tell Cole. After the call ended, Sienna sat in silence. The reflection of the city lights trembled across her face. She went to the dresser, opened the second drawer, and there it was. A black iPhone wrapped in a silk scarf, Cole's private line. She stared at it, realizing she'd been nothing but a placeholder in his empire. Beauty on display, liability in secret. Tears welled up, ruining her mascara. For the first time, she felt what Lily must have felt. Discarded, deceived, disposable. As thunder rolled over the Hudson, she whispered to the empty room, "You used me, Cole, but I'm done playing your perfect lie." Bold realization? The mistress finally understood. She wasn't the prize. She was the evidence. The morning air over Manhattan was sharp and brittle, the kind that sliced through even the thickest coat. Inside the grand lobby of the Plaza Hotel, chandeliers gleamed like 1,000 silent witnesses. Lily sat alone at a corner table, her hand resting on her belly, eyes darting toward the revolving door every few seconds. Maya stirred her coffee, scanning the crowd. "Are you sure about this? You're meeting the woman who helped destroy your marriage." Lily's voice was steady. "No, I'm meeting the woman who finally realized she was destroyed too." At exactly 10 o'clock, Sienna Vale walked in. No cameras, no entourage. Just a long beige trench coat and sunglasses large enough to hide the shame in her eyes. She hesitated before approaching. Lily looked up, expression unreadable. For a moment, neither spoke. Two women, both haunted by the same man, studying the wreckage he'd left behind. Finally, Sienna broke the silence. "You look stronger than I expected. And you look more human than I thought," Lily replied. They sat. The tension between them buzzed like static. Maya set her phone to record, sliding it under a napkin. "Let's start simple," she said. "What did Cole leave in your apartment?" Sienna pulled a small black iPhone from her purse and set it on the table. "This, his private line. He made me keep it hidden, said it was for emergencies. I never questioned it until now." Maya connected the phone to her laptop. As the files loaded, the cafe's piano music faded into background noise. One by one, messages appeared. Encrypted emails, bank transfers, voice notes. Lily's heart pounded as a familiar voice filled the speakers. "Cole's. Move the Cayman funds under Vale Enterprises. Use her passport for verification. She'll never know." Sienna covered her mouth, eyes wide with horror. He used my name." Maya typed quickly, saving everything. "This is it. The smoking gun. With this, we can bury him legally and publicly." But then another audio file auto-played, one that froze all three women. It was Gabriel Roth's voice. "Once Mercer collapses, transfer control to Roth Holdings. Don't worry about Lily, I'll handle her." Lily's stomach turned to ice. "He planned it, all of it." Maya cursed under her breath. "That son of a... he's playing both sides." Sienna's hands shook. "You mean Gabriel and Cole were working together?" "No," Lily whispered, her mind racing. "Gabriel wasn't helping Cole. He was using me to destroy him and take the company for himself." For a long moment, none of them spoke. The truth was too heavy to breathe. Sienna finally looked up. "So what now?" Lily's eyes hardened. "Now we play smarter. They think they're manipulating us, but we'll make them fight each other. While we take back what's ours." Maya leaned forward. "That means feeding them information, controlled leaks. Make Gabriel believe Cole's turning against him. Make Cole think Gabriel betrayed him first." Sienna blinked. "You're serious?" Lily's expression was calm, almost cold. "Completely. They wanted pawns. We'll be the players." Outside the windows, Wall Street loomed in the distance. Skyscrapers of glass and greed, the empire both men worshipped. Lily stared at them, feeling something new rise inside her, not just anger, power. She turned to Sienna. "You wanted redemption. Help me expose them both. Together, we can end this." Sienna took a shaky breath, then nodded. "Let's burn their empire down." Maya closed the laptop, the faintest smile touching her lips. "Then let's make Wall Street whisper." Bold realization. Two women once divided by betrayal just became the most dangerous alliance on Wall Street. The morning air over Manhattan was sharp and brittle, the kind that sliced through even the thickest coat. Inside the grand lobby of the Plaza Hotel, chandeliers gleamed like 1,000 silent witnesses. Lily sat alone at a corner table, her hand resting on her belly, eyes darting toward the revolving door every few seconds. Maya stirred her coffee, scanning the crowd. "Are you sure about this? You're meeting the woman who helped destroy your marriage." Lily's voice was steady. "No, I'm meeting the woman who finally realized she was destroyed too." At exactly 10 o'clock, Sienna Vale walked in. No cameras, no entourage, just a long beige trench coat and sunglasses, large enough to hide the shame in her eyes. She hesitated before approaching. Lily looked up, expression unreadable. For a moment, neither spoke. Two women, both haunted by the same man, studying the wreckage he'd left behind. Finally, Sienna broke the silence. You look stronger than I expected. And you look more human than I thought, Lily replied. They sat. The tension between them buzzed like static. Maya set her phone to record, sliding it under a napkin. Let's start simple, she said. What did Cole leave in your apartment? Sienna pulled a small black iPhone from her purse and set it on the table. This, his private line. He made me keep it hidden, said it was for emergencies. I never questioned it until now. Maya connected the phone to her laptop. As the files loaded, the cafe's piano music faded into background noise. One by one, messages appeared. Encrypted emails, bank transfers, voice notes. Lily's heart pounded as a familiar voice filled the speakers. Cole's. Move the Cayman funds under Val Enterprises. Use her passport for verification. She'll never know. Sienna covered her mouth, eyes wide with horror. He used my name. Maya typed quickly, saving everything. This is it, the smoking gun. With this, we can bury him legally and publicly. But then another audio file auto-played, one that froze all three women. It was Gabriel Roth's voice. Once Mercer collapses, transfer control to Roth Holdings. Don't worry about Lily. I'll handle her. Lily's stomach turned to ice. He planned it, all of it. Maya cursed under her breath. That son of a, he's playing both sides. Sienna's hands shook. You mean Gabriel and Cole were working together? No. Lily whispered, her mind racing. Gabriel wasn't helping Cole. He was using me to destroy him and take the company for himself. For a long moment, none of them spoke. The truth was too heavy to breathe. Sienna finally looked up. So what now? Lily's eyes hardened. Now we play smarter. They think they're manipulating us, but we'll make them fight each other while we take back what's ours. Maya leaned forward. That means feeding them information. Controlled leaks. Make Gabriel believe Cole's turning against him. Make Cole think Gabriel betrayed him first. Sienna blinked. You're serious? Lily's expression was calm, almost cold. Completely. They wanted pawns. We'll be the players. Outside the windows, Wall Street loomed in the distance, skyscrapers of glass and greed, the empire both men worshipped. Lily stared at them, feeling something new rise inside her. Not just anger, power. She turned to Sienna. You wanted redemption. Help me expose them both. Together, we can end this. Sienna took a shaky breath, then nodded. Let's burn their empire down. Maya closed the laptop, the faintest smile touching her lips. Then let's make Wall Street whisper. Bold realization. Two women once divided by betrayal just became the most dangerous alliance on Wall Street. The storm came back to Manhattan that night. Hard, fast, relentless. Wind howled through the glass towers, and lightning split the sky like the city itself was on trial. Inside a small law office downtown, Lily, Maya, and Sienna huddled over a flickering laptop screen. The encrypted files from Cole's phone had been uploaded to a secure drive, ready to send to the press and federal investigators by midnight. This is it, Maya said, her voice low. Once these go out, both Cole and Gabriel are finished. Sienna hugged herself, anxious. Then why do I feel like we're being watched? Lily looked toward the rain-streaked window. Because we probably are. A car engine roared outside. Then another. Maya crossed to the door, peered through the blinds, and froze. Lily, she whispered, it's him. Through the slanted blinds, headlights cut through the darkness. A black Mercedes parked across the street. The driver's door opened. Cole stepped out, umbrella in hand, face shadowed, movements precise, like a man with nothing left to lose. Jesus, Sienna breathed. He found us. Lily's pulse hammered in her throat. How? Maya's voice cracked. He must have traced the phone's last login. The power flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed the room. Maya grabbed her flashlight app. We have to move, now. They rushed down the narrow staircase, rain pounding the windows like fists. Outside, thunder rolled. When they reached the alley, headlights swung toward them. Cole's voice echoed through the storm. Lily, you can't hide forever. Sienna grabbed Lily's arm. He's armed. He's got something in his jacket. Maya shoved them toward the side street. Get to the subway. Go. The women sprinted through the rain, splashing through puddles, their coats soaked, breath sharp. Cole followed, shouting, You think you can ruin me? You think anyone will believe you? Lily turned once, shouting back through the downpour. I don't need them to believe me. I have the truth. A horn blared, a taxi screeching around the corner. Cole barely dodged it, stumbling. Sienna grabbed Lily's hand, pulling her toward the station entrance. But halfway down the stairs, Lily gasped. a sharp pain ripping through her abdomen. "Lily?" Sienna stopped. "What's wrong?" Her face twisted, breath catching. "It's too soon. My water, it broke." Maya's eyes widened. "Oh God. Okay, we're changing plans." She pulled out her phone, dialing 911. "We need an ambulance at Canal and Church. Pregnant woman in active labor." From above, Cole's voice thundered through the stairwell. "Lily, don't you dare!" Maya shouted. "Keep moving." They half-carried Lily into the tunnel, rainwater streaming behind them. Her contractions came fast, sharp, merciless. "I can't," she gasped. "Yes, you can," Sienna said, gripping her hand. "You're stronger than he ever was." Police sirens wailed in the distance. Footsteps pounded above. Cole retreating or regrouping, no one knew. The paramedics arrived minutes later, just as Lily collapsed against the cold tile wall. "Two babies," she whispered through the pain. "Please, save them." As they lifted her onto the stretcher, Maya looked up the stairs. Cole's shadow lingered at the top, watching. For a split second, lightning flashed across his face, hollow, wild, defeated. Then he was gone. Lily was rushed into the ambulance, rain hammering the roof. Sienna climbed in beside her, gripping her hand. Through tears, Lily whispered, "He can't stop this anymore." Sienna nodded. "No, he already lost." The siren wailed, slicing through the storm as Manhattan blurred past the windows. The city that had taken everything from her now carrying her toward something new. Bold realization. In the night he came to hunt her. Fate delivered her children instead. Proof that even storms give birth to miracles. The ambulance cut through the flooded streets like a bullet of light. Rain battered the windshield, wipers fighting against chaos. Inside, the air was thick with fear, sweat, and the rhythmic beeping of a heart monitor. Lily lay on the stretcher, soaked hair plastered to her forehead. Her contractions came in brutal waves, every breath a battle. Beside her, Sienna clutched her hand, whispering, you're okay, just breathe." But Lily's mind was far from okay. Between the screams and sirens, flashes of memory hit her. Cole's betrayal, Gabriel's deceit, the night she lost everything. And yet, somewhere beneath the pain, a strange calm began to rise. The paramedic leaned forward. "Ma'am, we're almost there. Try not to push yet." She forced a breath. "How far?" 3 minutes. Sienna brushed the wet hair from Lily's face. "You've survived worse than this. You'll make it." Lightning lit up the skyline outside, reflecting off the glass towers of downtown Manhattan. For a second, the city looked like it was bowing to her, humbled, trembling, alive. At the hospital entrance, doctors rushed out with stretchers. Lily was wheeled through bright hallways, her world a blur of white coats and shouted instructions. "BP dropping. Get oxygen. Where's the second heartbeat? Twins. Confirm twin delivery." Sienna ran beside the gurney until the nurses stopped her at the operating doors. "Family only." "I am her family," Sienna cried, but the doors slammed shut. She sank onto the bench, trembling. Maya arrived minutes later, drenched, eyes wide. "Is she?" "She's inside." "It's bad, Maya." They sat in silence, the rain pounding the glass wall outside like a drumbeat of fate. Inside the delivery room, Lily drifted between pain and lucidity. The anesthesiologist's voice echoed faintly. "Stay with us, Mrs. Mercer. Stay with us." She wanted to laugh. Mrs. Mercer. That name no longer belonged to her. Her pulse slowed. The monitors beeped irregularly. A nurse shouted for more oxygen. But Lily wasn't afraid. In her fading consciousness, she saw flashes. Her father's smile, her mother's lullaby, the silver pen Gabriel left behind. And through all of it, a whisper. "Rise, Lily, rise." Her fingers tightened around the hospital sheet. With one final scream, she pushed, and then the world fell silent. A cry pierced the air. Then another. Twin cries. Strong, alive. The doctor exhaled, relieved. 2 boys, both healthy. Lily's tears mixed with sweat as she whispered, "Owen and Theo." Her voice barely audible. "You made it." Outside, Sienna and Maya heard the newborn cries echo through the corridor. Sienna broke down, covering her mouth. She did it. Hours later, the storm eased. The city glistened under weak sunlight. In a quiet recovery room, Lily woke to find Gabriel standing near the window, arms crossed, eyes tired but calm. She blinked weakly. "How did you?" "I pulled some strings," he said softly. "I wanted to make sure you were safe." Her throat tightened. "Safe? You were watching me like prey." He didn't deny it. Sometimes protection requires control. She looked at him, voice steady despite exhaustion. "You don't own me." Not anymore. You and Cole, you both thought I was something to manage, but look around. She motioned weakly to the bassinet beside her. I built life out of destruction. Gabriel's expression flickered. Admiration or regret? She couldn't tell. He turned toward the window. Then maybe you don't need my protection anymore. No, she whispered. I don't. The nurse entered, carrying the twins. Lily held them, tears streaming down her face as dawn broke over the skyline. The storm had finally ended. Bold realization, in the night she almost died, Lily didn't just give birth to her sons, she gave birth to herself. 2 weeks after the storm, Manhattan seemed gentler. Or maybe Lily had simply changed the way she saw it. The city that once felt like a cage now looked like proof that survival was possible. Her hospital room overlooked Central Park. The leaves had turned gold, and every morning sunlight poured across the white sheets, warming her skin. Her twins, Bowen and Theo, slept in matching bassinets beside her bed. Their tiny breaths synced with the quiet rhythm of a heart monitor, the soft sound that had become her new music. Maya visited every day, bringing case files and decaf coffee. You're trending again, she said one morning, setting her MacBook on the tray. But this time the world's on your side. Lily smiled weakly. Public sympathy doesn't pay legal bills. No, Maya agreed, but it buys time. Cole's hiding. The SEC froze his accounts yesterday. Lily's smile faded. And Gabriel? Maya hesitated. Still quiet. Too quiet. He's holding off any public statements. My gut says he's making a move behind the scenes. Outside the door, a nurse wheeled in a bouquet, white lilies and a single black rose. No card, just a note with neat handwriting. Rest well, Lily. You've earned your peace. Gr. Lily stared at it, expression unreadable. Peace from him never comes free. Later that afternoon, while the twins napped, she turned on the TV. The news anchor's voice filled the room. Cole Mercer, former CEO of Mercer Capital, remains missing after the financial scandal that rocked Wall Street. Sources say federal investigators are now looking into Roth Holdings, whose recent acquisitions mirror Mercer's vanished assets. She muted the volume. Her reflection in the screen stared back at her, calm but calculating. So it begins, she whispered. That evening, Sienna visited disguised under a baseball cap and sunglasses. She looked thinner, drained. I brought you something, she said, placing a manila envelope on the bedside table. The last of Cole's files, the ones I didn't send before. Lily frowned. You risked being seen for this? I owed you, Sienna replied softly. And maybe I owed myself too. Lily opened the envelope. Inside were flight records, private messages, and a single photo. Gabriel and Cole together at a private dinner months before the scandal broke. Her chest tightened. He lied about everything. Sienna nodded. He needed Cole to fall so he could inherit Mercer's assets through Roth Holdings. You were the distraction. The truth settled like a weight in the air. Lily looked out the window, Manhattan glowing beneath the night sky. Then I'll stop being the distraction, she said. I'll be the reckoning. Maya arrived later with updates. The board's calling a public hearing next week to restructure the company. If Gabriel takes control, Mercer Capital becomes Roth Mercer. You'll lose your father's legacy. Not if I speak first, Lily said, eyes sharp. Schedule me to attend. Maya blinked. You're barely out of the hospital. I'm done recovering. They took my name, my money, my dignity, but not my truth. It's time the world heard it from me. The next morning, the city buzzed with speculation. The press had caught wind that Lily Hart, the woman once discarded by the empire, would appear at the upcoming hearing. Social media exploded with hashtags, Tad Lily Hart rises, Mercer scandal, women who fought back. In her hospital room, Lily prepared her statement. Her hands no longer trembled. For the first time, she wasn't running, hiding, or being used. She was leading. She looked down at her twins and whispered, This is for you, and for every woman they thought they could silence. Outside, the skyline shimmered like a promise, the calm before the next storm. Bold realization. Sometimes peace isn't the end of war. It's the moment you sharpen your sword. The morning of the hearing, Manhattan pulsed with anticipation. News vans lined Park Avenue, cameras flashing outside the marble lobby of Mercer Tower. Reporters jostled for a glimpse of the woman whose name had become legend, the pregnant wife turned symbol of resilience. Lily Hart stepped from the black sedan wearing a white suit, simple, sharp, immaculate. Her hair was tied back, her expression calm but unyielding. Maya walked beside her, holding a folder of documents. Sienna followed a few paces behind, sunglasses hiding the fear in her eyes. Flashbulbs exploded like gunfire. A reporter shouted, "Miss Hart, are you here to confront Gabriel Roth?" Another yelled, "Do you know where Cole Mercer is?" Lily didn't answer. She simply walked through the revolving doors, her heels echoing on the polished marble floor. The boardroom was already full. Investors, executives, lawyers. At the head of the table sat Gabriel Roth, immaculate as ever in a navy suit, hands folded like a priest at prayer. He stood as she entered, his voice smooth. "Lily, you look well." She met his eyes without flinching. "Better than you expected, I'm sure." He gestured to a seat. "Please sit. We're here to discuss the future of Mercer Capital." "I know," she replied, sliding the folder onto the table. "That's why I'm here. To make sure that future isn't built on lies." A murmur rippled through the room. Gabriel gave a tight smile. "Lies? You wound me. I saved this company from your husband's corruption." Lily leaned forward. "You didn't save it. You orchestrated it. You used Cole to collapse the company, then swooped in to buy the pieces under Roth Holdings. I have proof." Maya opened the folder, pulling out printed emails, bank transfers, and the damning audio clip from Cole's phone. Gabriel's voice, cold and clear. "Once Mercer collapses, transfer control to Roth Holdings." Gasps filled the room. Cameras from the live feed captured every flicker of Gabriel's composure cracking. "That recording is taken out of context," he said, his calm slipping. "You don't know what you're dealing with." Lily stood, her voice firm. "I know exactly what I'm dealing with. Men who mistake silence for weakness. My father built this company on integrity, and you both poisoned it. But today, it returns to its rightful name." Suddenly, the doors burst open. Every head turned. Cole Mercer walked in. His suit was wrinkled, his face gaunt, eyes bloodshot, the ghost of the empire he'd once ruled. "Don't listen to her," he shouted, slamming a folder on the table. "Roth's been playing you all. He set me up." Gabriel's jaw tightened. "You should have stayed gone, Cole." Cole pointed a trembling hand. "You think I'll take the fall for you? I've got the receipts. Every offshore transfer, every fake subsidiary you built through Roth Holdings. You used me." Security moved in, but Gabriel waved them off. The room buzzed with chaos, journalists scribbling furiously. Lily stood between them, two men who had broken her life and each other. She raised her voice above the noise. "Enough!" Silence dropped like a curtain. She looked from one man to the other. "You both wanted control. Congratulations. You destroyed everything just to prove who could hold it longer. But I'm done being your battleground." She turned to the board. "My father's original trust deed gives me controlling ownership. Effective today, I'm reclaiming it and renaming this company Hart Industries." Applause erupted. Cameras flashed. Gabriel's face went pale. Cole stumbled back, defeated. Lily took a breath, her voice steady. "You built an empire on deception. I'll rebuild it on truth." Maya stepped forward, handing her a pen. Lily signed the document in front of the cameras. A single signature rewriting the empire's history. As she turned to leave, she looked back once. "You both taught me something," she said softly. "Power doesn't corrupt, fear does." Then she walked out, head high, leaving them to choke on the silence she'd weaponized. Bold realization, she didn't need revenge. She became the verdict. By the next sunrise, Manhattan had a new queen. The story broke before dawn. Lily Hart exposes Wall Street scandal, Roth and Mercer under investigation. Every major network ran her image. The woman in white signing papers with unshakable poise while two powerful men unraveled behind her. Cole Mercer's empire was gone overnight. Federal agents raided his penthouse on Park Avenue, seizing documents, computers, and a half-empty bottle of scotch. Cameras caught him in handcuffs, shouting as he was led away. "I built this company. She stole it from me." But no one believed him. Meanwhile, at Roth Holdings, Gabriel faced his own reckoning. The board suspended him pending investigation. His assets were frozen. Every channel played the same clip, his voice on the recording, calm and damning. "Once Mercer collapses, transfer control to Roth Holdings." He tried to spin it as taken out of context. But the world had already decided. Overnight, his reputation, decades of power and polish, turned to dust. Lily watched it all unfold from her new office. The corner suite overlooking Central Park, once Cole's, now hers. The skyline glittered through the windows, reflecting off the sleek glass desk where two framed photos sat. One of her father, one of her twins. Maya stood near the window, scrolling through her phone. Cole's officially indicted. Fraud, money laundering, perjury, the works. And Gabriel's under federal audit. He might cut a deal, but it won't save him. Sienna leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. And you just turned two monsters into cautionary tales. How does it feel? We looked out at the city. Quiet, but not peaceful yet. She turned back to them. We're not done. My father's employees, the ones Cole fired when he took over, we'll rehire them. We'll rebuild this company as Hart Industries, clean and transparent. If we're going to lead, we lead differently. Maya grinned. From scandal to redemption, every PR firm in Manhattan's dying to work with you. Sienna laughed softly. You don't need PR, you've got truth. For the first time in months, Lily smiled, a small, real smile. But as the news rolled on TV, one headline caught her eye. Gabriel Roth missing after leaving federal hearing. She frowned. Missing? Maya nodded. He vanished after posting bail. Private jet never took off. Bank cards inactive. He's just gone. Sienna whispered, Do you think he ran? Lily shook her head slowly. No, Gabriel doesn't run. He plans. If he's gone, it means he's not finished. The air turned colder, heavier. The camera on the news panned over Roth's empty office, the desk spotless save for a single silver Mont Blanc pen. Lily's breath caught. He left his pen. She walked closer to the TV. The pen glinted under the fluorescent lights. It was identical to the one he'd given her months ago, the one that held the microdrive. Only this time, a small note rested beside it. Your turn to watch the world, Lily. Use it wisely. She didn't know whether it was a warning or a gift. Outside, the city hummed, alive again. Down below, workers entered the building that once bore the Mercer name, now draped with a new banner. Hart Industries. As employees applauded her arrival in the lobby, Lily stepped forward, heels clicking against marble. The woman who had walked out of this building broken had now returned as its heart beat. She stood before the glass doors, sunlight pouring over her. Let's begin again, she whispered. Behind her, the elevator chimed softly, its reflection splitting her image into two, the woman she had been and the one she had become. Bold realization. While two titans fell, she didn't just survive the fire, she became the flame. The office was empty when Lily returned late that night. Central Park shimmered beyond the glass, its lights like small, waiting eyes. The world outside finally saw her as untouchable. But she felt the opposite, restless, unfinished. On her desk lay the Mont Blanc pen Gabriel had left behind. She picked it up carefully, turning it between her fingers. It looked ordinary, yet it carried the weight of every unanswered question. Maya entered quietly, holding 2 coffees. You're still here? It's past midnight. Lily nodded, eyes fixed on the pen. He left it for me. He wanted me to find something. Maya sighed. He's gone, Lily. Let him disappear. But Lily shook her head. Gabriel Roth never disappears without purpose. She unscrewed the pen's cap. A small metallic click echoed in the quiet room. Hidden inside was a microchip, almost identical to the one he'd given her before. Maya stepped closer. Is that? Yes. Lily inserted the chip into her laptop. The screen flickered to life, loading encrypted files labeled RH Legacy. She entered the same password Gabriel once used, Hart. A folder opened. Dozens of documents appeared. Stock transfers, offshore accounts, property deeds. But buried at the bottom was one final video file titled, To Lily. Her pulse quickened. She clicked play. The screen filled with Gabriel's face, recorded weeks earlier. His eyes looked older, softer. If you're watching this, the boardroom war is over. Good. I always knew you'd win. You're your father's daughter. He paused, exhaling. But I need you to understand something. I didn't destroy Mercer Capital for greed. I did it because your father asked me to. Years ago. He saw what it was becoming under Cole's influence, the corruption creeping in. He told me, if Lily ever forgets what power costs, make her remember. I never wanted to hurt you, Lily. I wanted to build you. Lily froze. Her heart thudded in her chest. Everything you lost was a test. Everything you rebuilt was proof. The trust fund, the betrayal, even Cole, it was the fire you needed. You were always meant to lead, but only through ashes could you understand the weight of empire. Now it's yours. Lead differently than we did. The video ended. The screen went black. Maya stared, speechless. He planned everything, even his own downfall. Lily leaned back, tears glistening but unshed. He made me his final investment. Outside, thunder rumbled faintly in the distance, another storm on the horizon. Maya crossed her arms. You could expose this, clear your father's name completely, or keep it secret and protect the company's new image. Lily stared at the city below. The choice tasted like iron, truth or stability, legacy or peace. She closed the laptop slowly. The world doesn't need another scandal. It needs a future. Maya nodded. So what do you do now? Lily looked at the pen again. I honor them both, the father who built and the man who burned it down for me to rebuild. She placed the pen back on the desk like an artifact of war. Through the window, dawn crept across Manhattan, painting the skyline gold. For the first time, she didn't feel haunted. She felt chosen. Bold realization. Gabriel hadn't vanished into the shadows. He had become the shadow guiding her light. Summer came early that year. The Manhattan skyline shimmered beneath a pale gold haze, and for the first time in years, Lily Hart wasn't rushing anywhere. She stood by the window of her penthouse, watching the city she had once fought to survive. Downstairs, Maya packed legal binders for an upcoming charity event. Across the room, the twins toddled around in matching blue overalls, chasing the morning light. Sienna entered, holding coffee and a half smile. Are you sure you want to do this? Go back there? Lily nodded. The Hamptons was where my father built his first company. It's where he met my mother. It's where this all began. If I'm going to build Hart Industries' future, I have to face its past. Maya closed her laptop. Everything's set for the weekend. Press free. Just family and board members. Good, Lily said softly. This isn't for cameras, it's for closure. 3 hours later, her black Mercedes rolled past the familiar coastline. The Hamptons stretched before her. Quiet, sunlit, deceptively peaceful. She hadn't been here since the funeral. The ocean breeze hit her face as she stepped out, hair whipping across her cheeks. The old Roth estate loomed nearby, now abandoned, its windows boarded, its name scraped off the gates. She walked toward the Hart family house, the only place left untouched by time. Faded white shutters, a porch swing swaying gently. Inside, dust motes danced in the sunlight. The air smelled faintly of cedar and sea salt. The twins ran ahead, giggling. Owen tripped over a rug, and Lily scooped him up, laughing softly. Easy, my love. Your grandfather used to walk these floors too. Maya and Sienna followed, carrying boxes labeled foundation plans. They were here to sign the documents that would turn the old Hart estate into the new headquarters for the Hart Foundation, a nonprofit supporting women entrepreneurs who had lost everything. This was never just about a company, Lily said, looking around. It's about rebuilding women who've been broken the way I was. Sienna smiled. You're rewriting what power means, Lily. Before they could reply, a voice echoed from the doorway. I couldn't agree more. Lily turned sharply. Gabriel Roth stood in the doorway, older, thinner, but unmistakably alive. A faint smile curved his lips. You didn't think I'd miss your rebirth, did you? Maya stepped forward defensively. You're under investigation. He raised a hand. Relax. I'm not here to interfere. I came to say goodbye. Lily's breath caught. You faked your disappearance. I prefer the word retirement, he said with quiet amusement. You don't need me anymore. You've surpassed everything your father and I ever dreamed you'd be. She studied him carefully. Why show up now? Gabriel's eyes softened. Because I wanted to see you free, truly free. You carry both of us now. Our flaws, our mistakes, our hopes. Don't let them weigh you down. He reached into his coat, pulling out a small velvet box. Inside was a silver key engraved with the initials HR. Your father built this house. I made sure it stayed yours. Now it belongs to the next generation. Lily blinked back tears. Thank you, Gabriel. He smiled faintly. Don't thank me. Just promise me you'll never stop building. And then, like mist in sunlight, he was gone, stepping out into the ocean wind, his figure fading beyond the dunes. That evening, Lily stood on the porch as the sun sank into the horizon. The twins slept upstairs. The waves murmured softly. She whispered to the wind, Dad, Gabriel, we're home now. The breeze seemed to answer. Bold realization. She didn't return to the Hamptons to remember who she was. She came to become who she was always meant to be. The ballroom of the Ritz-Carlton shimmered like liquid gold. Crystal chandeliers cast diamonds of light across silk gowns and tailored suits. The most powerful people in New York, investors, politicians, celebrities, filled the room, sipping champagne under banners that read, The Hart Foundation Gala, empowering women to rise again. Lily Hart stood backstage, calm but trembling inside. Her reflection in the dressing mirror looked flawless. The white Dior gown, the sleek chignon, the subtle Cartier necklace that once belonged to her mother. But beneath the beauty was a heartbeat of memory. Betrayal, survival, rebirth. Maya approached, tablet in hand. The press is out there, live broadcast to 5 networks. Are you ready? Lily smiled faintly. I was born ready. I just didn't know it until I lost everything. Sienna joined them, wearing a simple black gown. No longer a scandal's shadow, she now worked as the foundation's director of outreach. The crowd's full of sharks, she said, glancing at the audience. But for once, they came to listen to you, not to judge you. Lily nodded. Then let's make them hear every heartbeat of what it took to stand here. The orchestra softened. The lights dimmed. The announcer's voice echoed through the ballroom. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and CEO of the Hart Foundation, Miss Lily Hart. Applause thundered as Lily stepped into the spotlight. Cameras flashed like lightning. She paused for a moment, scanning the sea of faces, the same world that once mocked her, now waiting for her words. Good evening, she began, her voice steady. 2 years ago, I was a name in the tabloids, a woman abandoned, humiliated, and written off. But tonight I stand before you, not as someone who was saved, but as someone who rebuilt. The room fell silent. Even the waiters stopped moving. I learned something about power, she continued. It doesn't come from money or fame or the people who once sat above you in boardrooms. Real power comes from surviving what tried to destroy you and using it to light the way for others. Behind her, the screen illuminated with images. Women from shelters, single mothers launching startups, survivors of corporate exploitation, all funded by the Hart Foundation. This foundation isn't about me, Lily said, her voice soft but fierce. It's about every woman told she wasn't enough. It's for the ones who cried behind closed doors and still showed up the next morning. You don't have to rise perfectly, you just have to rise. The crowd erupted in applause. Cameras panned to tears glistening on faces once hardened by Wall Street cynicism. Then as she looked toward the far corner, she froze. Standing by the exit, half hidden in the shadows, was Gabriel Roth. He wasn't dressed for the gala. No tie, no applause, just quiet pride in his eyes. When their gazes met, he lifted a glass of champagne slightly, like a silent salute. Then he disappeared into the crowd before she could react. For a moment, her composure faltered. Then she smiled, a private, knowing smile. She turned back to the audience. I once thought redemption was something you earned. But I've learned it's something you create. One truth, one choice, one act of courage at a time. The orchestra swelled, applause thundered, and Lily raised her glass toward the audience. To rebuilding, she said. Not just companies, but lives. The crowd stood. Cameras captured her standing tall beneath the chandelier, light catching the tears she didn't bother to hide. Bold realization, she walked into that ballroom as a survivor and left it as a legacy. The house in the Hamptons was silent except for the rhythm of the ocean outside. The gala had ended days ago, but its echoes still lingered. The applause, the lights, the standing ovation. Yet tonight, Lily Hart sat alone at her oak desk, the same one her father had used decades before, with only a pen and blank stationery before her. Her twins, Owen and Theo, were asleep upstairs. Their soft laughter had filled the afternoon, chasing away ghosts. But she knew one day they would ask questions about their father, about the empire, about the fire she had walked through to get here. And she wanted her answers ready. She uncapped her pen, took a deep breath, and began to write. To my sons, Owen and Theo. The day you read this, you'll be old enough to understand what strength costs. Her hand trembled slightly, but her words flowed like truth uncoiling. You'll hear stories about your father, how he was powerful, brilliant, and deeply flawed. You may even see his name in books or on old clips. Remember this, people are not defined by their mistakes, but by whether they ever learn from them. Your father didn't, but you can. She paused, eyes glistening. A gust of wind pushed against the window, carrying the faint scent of the sea. You'll also hear about Gabriel Roth, the man who helped me rise, then betrayed me, and somehow became my teacher in disguise. Life will show you that some allies arrive wearing the mask of enemies, and some enemies are just teachers with cruel lessons. Don't hate them, learn from them. The fireplace crackled softly. She continued, I fought battles not because I wanted to win, but because I wanted you both to live in a world where you never had to fight the same ones. But understand this. Power will always test you. It will whisper lies that you are invincible, that you deserve more, that compassion is weakness. Don't listen. The strongest man is the one who leads with empathy. She stopped to look at a framed photo on her desk, her father smiling beside a much younger version of herself, holding blueprints of their first family project. She smiled faintly. Your grandfather built an empire out of honesty. I rebuilt it out of ashes. One day, you'll inherit what we created. When that time comes, promise me one thing. Never build anything that costs someone their dignity. The world has enough empires. It needs builders of grace. Her tears fell, but she didn't wipe them away. And when you find love, don't seek perfection. Seek truth. It's the only foundation that doesn't crumble. If you love someone, stand by them when the world turns cold. That's what your mother learned too late. She took a long breath, then wrote the final line. If you ever feel lost, come back here, to the ocean, to the sound of waves. This is where our family began again. And remember, I didn't survive to make you proud. I survived so you'd never have to. Signed it, Lily Hart, and sealed the letter inside an envelope marked Dom. For my sons, to be opened when they're ready. Outside, the tide rolled against the shore, steady and endless. She stood by the window, watching moonlight spill over the waves. The empire she rebuilt, the legacy she carried, all of it came down to this quiet truth. Everything she'd fought for had always been for them. Bold realization, her greatest victory wasn't rebuilding an empire. It was breaking the cycle for the ones who would inherit her light. 15 years later, the Hart estate in the Hamptons was no longer a quiet refuge. It had become the headquarters of Hart Industries Global, a symbol of innovation and integrity, led by one of Lily's twin sons, Owen Hart, now 24, ambitious, sharp, and carrying the same calm fire his mother once had. The ocean still whispered behind the glass walls of the estate, but the air now buzzed with the rhythm of drones, tech meetings, and a new generation of dreamers. Lily, now grayer but still radiant, watched her sons grow the legacy she'd built from ashes. Theo had chosen art and philanthropy. Owen had chosen business. But both carried her quiet resilience. It was late one night when Owen found himself in the old study, the one his mother never let anyone touch. He'd returned home for the weekend to finalize a merger, but nostalgia had pulled him toward the past. Dust glimmered in the soft light. The same oak desk his mother once used still stood there untouched, and in the top drawer, buried beneath yellowed papers and family photos, he found a velvet box, aged, worn, and marked only with 2 engraved letters. Gr. Owen frowned, curiosity ignited. He opened it. Inside lay the same silver Mont Blanc pen, its surface dulled by time. A folded note rested beneath it. For when you're ready to know why I truly rebuilt, Mom. His heartbeat quickened. He twisted the pen open and, just like before, found a hidden microchip sealed inside. The same kind his mother once discovered. He slid it into his laptop. A single encrypted file appeared. Project Phoenix. The file opened to reveal blueprints, contracts, and a name that froze him, Gabriel Roth. It wasn't a scandal file or financial record. It was a business plan dated a month before Gabriel disappeared. It outlined the creation of a global foundation dedicated to rebuilding ethical economies in war-torn nations. But attached to it was one more file. Hart Succession Protocol. Owen clicked it. A video flickered to life. Gabriel's face appeared, older than the last known footage. If you're watching this, Gabriel said, voice gravelly but strong, it means Lily's legacy stands, and the next generation is ready. I built a shadow trust, funds, patents, alliances, all meant for you. But every flame has a cost, Owen. One day, someone will try to use your mother's empire against you, the same way we once used it against her. When that day comes, remember, strength without compassion becomes tyranny. Owen leaned back, breath unsteady. What the hell is this? He copied the files to a secure drive and called Theo. Hey, Theo answered, half asleep. It's midnight. Owen's voice was low, urgent. There's something Mom never told us. About Gabriel. About the company. Theo sighed. You're digging into ghosts, Owen. Maybe, but what if those ghosts built everything we're standing on? Theo was quiet for a long time. Then he said, whatever you found, don't tell Mom yet. Not until we know what it means. Owen looked out toward the sea, waves crashing beneath the moonlight, the same sea his mother had faced so many years ago. The wind carried the faintest whisper, like memory reborn. He closed the laptop, whispering, "You taught us to rebuild, Mom. Now it's our turn to protect it." In the corner of the study, the portrait of Lily Hart seemed to watch over him, her eyes both proud and warning. Bold realization. The empire she built from betrayal was safe. But her sons had just uncovered the next storm, rising beneath its foundations. The following morning, Owen Hart sat in the glass conference room, overlooking the Atlantic. Waves pounded the shore below like a heartbeat, steady, relentless. On his laptop, the file titled Project Phoenix glowed like a secret waiting to be unleashed. Across from him sat his brother Theo, barefoot, hair messy, coffee in hand. He was the artist, the dreamer, but tonight he looked dead serious. "So," Theo said quietly, "you're telling me Gabriel Roth created a second empire in the shadows of Mom's?" Owen nodded. "Not just created, he designed it to rise when hers stabilized. A silent partnership built on ethics, philanthropy, and innovation. But there's more." He pulled up the next section of the document. Phoenix Protocol, Activation Conditions. Theo leaned closer. "What does it mean?" Owen scrolled. "It says the protocol activates when Hart Industries hits a specific valuation, $1 trillion. Or if global corruption levels reach a threshold determined by AI metrics he coded himself. It's like he planned a moral reset switch for the entire economy." Theo blinked. "That's insane." "Maybe," Owen said, "but Gabriel wasn't just a businessman, he was an architect of control. And Mom..." He hesitated. "I think she knew." Theo frowned. "Mom would never hide something like that." Owen turned the laptop toward him. "Then why is her digital signature embedded in the final line of code?" Theo stared at it. Lily Hart's name, written in clean white letters across the bottom of the screen, authorized by L. Hart. Silence filled the room. Theo whispered, "She helped him." Owen's jaw tightened. She might have believed in what he was doing, rebuilding broken systems, fixing corruption. But this protocol doesn't just fix. It replaces. It hands control of global finance to an AI built by a dead man. Theo exhaled. "So what do we do?" Owen closed the laptop. "We find out if anyone else knows." That afternoon, Owen met with Maya Brooks in the city. Now in her late 50s, she still carried the same sharp intelligence that had once defended Lily. He laid the files before her. "Tell me the truth, Maya. Did my mother know about this?" Maya adjusted her glasses, scanning the documents. Her face paled. "Gabriel called it his insurance policy. I told Lily it was too dangerous. She told me some fires are necessary." "So she did know," Owen said quietly. "Yes," Maya whispered. "But she never activated it. She locked it away. She believed the world wasn't ready, that you would decide when it was." Owen froze. "Me?" Maya nodded. "Your mother said the next generation should choose what kind of world they inherit, one governed by people or one guided by perfection." Theo leaned forward. "And what if perfection costs freedom?" No one answered. Owen looked out the window. The city skyline shimmered under the afternoon sun, reflecting a world built on the same greed his mother had fought to reform. Somewhere deep inside, he knew Gabriel had foreseen this moment. He turned back to Maya. "If I shut this down, it all dies with me. But if I activate it," Maya met his gaze, "then you become the most powerful man alive." Owen swallowed hard. "Power isn't what scares me, it's who I'll have to become to use it." He glanced at the pen, Gabriel's Mont Blanc, lying on the table. The same tool that had rewritten destinies decades ago now waited for his decision. Theo whispered, "Whatever you choose, don't lose yourself like they did." Owen nodded slowly. "No, this time the fire won't consume us, it'll cleanse what's left." He pressed a key. The screen pulsed once, then faded to black. Bold realization. The world his mother rebuilt wasn't ending, it was evolving, and the next heartbeat of power had just begun. The world didn't end that night, but it changed. Quietly. Invisibly. When Owen pressed the key, the Phoenix Protocol awoke. What looked like a black screen was in truth the pulse of a sleeping empire, millions of lines of code spreading like veins through the global network. By dawn, the system had integrated itself into data centers from New York to Zurich, from Singapore to Dubai. Theo stood behind him, breath shallow. "Owen, what did you do?" Owen didn't answer. His eyes reflected the glow of the monitor, where a single phrase appeared. "Protocol active, awaiting directive. He typed slowly, reform, not rule. The system began analyzing markets, redistributing blocked funds, identifying corruption accounts, exposing black money trails. News feeds around the world lit up with untraceable leaks. Shell companies collapsing, stolen assets returning to public trusts, hidden wealth rerouted to rebuild education and healthcare systems. By sunrise, governments scrambled to understand what had happened. They called it the digital purge. Theo stared in disbelief. You just rewired the world economy. Owen turned to him, calm but pale. No, I just gave it a conscience. By mid-morning, Hart Industries servers glowed red-hot with activity. Journalists flooded the gates. Maya arrived, phone pressed to her ear. Every nation's calling for answers, she said breathlessly. They think it's cyber-terrorism. It's not terrorism, Owen said quietly. It's justice, the kind my mother dreamed of. But the power you've unleashed, Maya warned, can't be undone. Even if you shut down your end, the network's self-learning. It will evolve. I know, Owen said. That's the point. Theo slammed his hand on the table. No, that's madness. You're playing God, Owen. This isn't what Mom wanted. Owen's voice cracked for the first time. She wanted a better world, Theo. One free from men like Cole and Gabriel. This is how we give it to her. Theo shook his head. At what cost? You think perfection won't corrupt itself eventually? Silence stretched between them. Then Owen whispered, maybe that's why she left it to us, to decide when to stop. That evening, the brothers stood on the cliffside outside their childhood home. The ocean was restless, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Owen handed Theo a small envelope, the same kind their mother once used for her letters. I wrote this for you, for when you think I've gone too far. Theo frowned. You sound like you're saying goodbye. Owen smiled softly. Not goodbye, just a new beginning. Someone has to guide what's coming, and maybe that someone can't be part of the old world anymore. He turned toward the waves, the wind lifting his hair. Mom rebuilt from the ashes. I'm building from the code. Theo's voice broke. Owen, don't do this. Owen placed the Mont Blanc pen into his brother's hand. Every empire needs someone to keep it honest. That's you. Then he walked away, into the wind toward the cliff path that led down to the private airstrip where Gabriel once disappeared. Theo called after him, tears cutting through the salt air. What if history repeats itself? Owen turned, eyes bright in the moonlight. Then make sure this time, it ends differently. He smiled, the same quiet, determined smile Lily once wore, and disappeared into the night. Days later, financial headlines spoke of the cleanest markets in modern history. No one knew who caused it. Anonymous networks whispered about the Phoenix Directive. At the Hart estate, Theo stood before their mother's portrait, the envelope unopened in his hand. He whispered, You gave birth to a legacy, Mom, and now it's alive. Bold realization. Lily rebuilt the world once, but her sons had set it free. So that's how the story ends. Quite a journey, right? If you're still here with me right now, it probably means something in this story touched your heart. Maybe in a quiet, personal way. And that's beautiful. Because this wasn't just a story about betrayal or success, it was about becoming whole again. Lily's journey reminds us that every ending hides the seed of a beginning. Like Marcus Aurelius once wrote, the obstacle is the way. Sometimes the pain we curse becomes the very thing that shapes us into who we're meant to be. We fall, we break, and then we rebuild, stronger, softer, and wiser. So if life feels heavy right now, remember, you are not your failure, your heartbreak, or your past. You are the fire that survives it. You are the calm after the storm. And if this story gave you a little strength, a little light, or even a small tear that meant something, hit that like button, share this with someone who needs it, and subscribe to our channel. Because here, we tell stories that don't just entertain, they heal. Stay strong, my friend. The next sunrise is already on its way.